I got something for you. I got something for all these homosexuals just walking around here with your pocketbooks, with your tight pants and your bow tie, and you're walking like a girl. You need deliverance.
Good motherfucking morning, citizens of planet Earth. Hearing that, doesn't that make you want to like fucking smack the fucking shit out of some ignorant people? But anyway, yeah. And guess what? I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the church and shit. So yeah, sit back, relax, smoke a bowl, do whatever you gotta do, because I fucked over a member of the church once again. Play the music that I play at the beginning of every episode. Just play it. The button isn't working right now. Play.
Who is that nasty?
Zach will kill you and fuck your bitch.
People pay $1 million for one drop of my sperm.
You guys, this is my second podcast in 3 fucking days. I think that's a record. I think so. Anyway, how's your week? How's your fucking week going? Mine's good. I got coffee. I'm not tripping. Anyway, this memory just kind of popped into my head the other day at work, and I figured it would make a cool, quick little episode. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know the direction it's going to take, but back when I used to live with my mom, we used to, like in the last episode I talked about, we used to drive all over in the Cutlass. And when it was nice outside, we used to drive around these really fucking nice neighborhoods. And that was something we did all the time. Nice neighborhoods or not, we would drive around neighborhoods and we would look for stuff like in the back of trucks, in open garages, you know, anything that we could possibly come up on. I remember the first time my mom did this with me. We were driving around this neighborhood, and we drove past this house that had an open garage, and we could see, like, you know, lawnmowers and weed eaters and leaf blowers and shit like that in there. And my mom was like, perfect, because we needed gas, and, you know, there was gas cans all over, and she was like, hop out, I'm gonna go around the block and then come back, you know, facing the opposite direction so we can just skirt out of there. And so I get out and I'm like walking up this driveway, and I fucking like creep up into the garage. This is broad daylight. Like, he's got neighbors, you know what I mean, that he damn near shares a front yard with. So it was just a little bit sketchy. So I'm like creeping up to the garage, and I grab 2 big ass gas cans, and I fucking start running to the end of the driveway, and I'm just standing there. My mom still hasn't made it around the fucking block yet, and I'm standing at the edge of this dude's driveway with his gas cans, just tripping like, what if this dude fucking comes out? What is he gonna say? So I came up with a lie. I was like, man, if he comes outside, I like got down on a knee, and I was like pretending to do something to the cap, and I was gonna say to him, if he came outside, I was gonna be like, man, I was like, there's some punk ass little kids. I just caught some kids trying to run off with gas cans out of your fucking garage, man. Here you go. I'm sorry about that, dude. I was just walking by. I happened to be walking by at the right time. And yeah, that was my lie that I was gonna say. But luckily I never had to, because my mom pulled up and we just got, you know, whatever, like 15 gallons of gas. They were those really giant gas cans. So we used to drive around a lot and do this. And there was this one neighborhood that we used to drive around pretty frequently. It was one of those really nice like subdivisions, you know, really big, tall 2-story houses. Everybody's got a Range Rover and stuff like that. So we would go garage sailing, and a lot of the times we would get to a garage sale, and people would like open the garage, and like the sale would be like half in their garage, half out in the driveway. We would just walk around like we're interested in stuff, and my mom would like start talking to the female, whoever was in charge of the sale, and they would start talking and laughing, and then my mom would ask to use their bathroom, and fucking she'd go in there and scope out their house, and figure out if it's worth coming back to at a later time, or if there's something we could snag right then and there. Anyway, we did that a lot. It was like a hobby, I guess, when you didn't have anything better to do. We did that, and we ended up meeting this black dude, older black gentleman, really nice guy, and he was having a garage sale at his house. And me and my mom pull up, and we get out, and it's just us and him. And we start looking through his stuff, and my mom starts talking to him a little bit back and forth. And my mom's got like this gift with older dudes where he could just, or where she can pretty much manipulate them to do anything, basically. So my mom is like having him melt in her hand pretty fucking much. He's like laughing at everything she's saying, and he's like, patting her on the shoulder, giving her a hug and stuff like that. Long story short, he ends up inviting us to church, and we were like, what the fuck, we weren't church people, so we were kind of taken back. Anyway, we end up going to church because my mom said there might, this guy might, there might be something to him or something like that. Like, look at the house he has, look at the cars that are in his driveway. He obviously has money. So we went to church a few times, and but it was more like a look how good it was a very virtuous thing of us to do, but it wasn't at the same time, because we knew it was fake, and we were just trying to kind of impress him and get on his good side, I guess. I never was told like a fucking full plan. We didn't have an end game. So, but we ended up going to church a couple times with this dude, and we met some of his family that were still alive, because this dude was like in his 60s and shit. And we met some of his family, some of his friends, and we got to know people around the church, which was a little awkward at times because it was like a predominantly African American church. And me and my mom, obviously white as snow, stuck out. Why did I say that so weird? We stuck out really well. So it was very contrasted when we were in service. But it was cool. Everybody was really nice, and we never felt out of place. So, but anyway, some time goes by, and he called my mom one day after we hadn't been to church for, I don't know, probably a few weeks or a month or two. And he called my mom, and they were talking and shit, and he was telling her how he would like to see us back at church. And he's going to start some new thing when he gets back from vacation. And, they continued talking. And then my mom hung up, and she's like, we got to go right now. And I was like, what do you mean? Why? And she was like, that pastor or preacher, whatever he really was, just told me that he's on vacation. He was in like Florida or some shit like that. She was like, we need to go to his house and see if anybody's there. And so we drove across town, and we get to his house, and his neighbors are all like outside, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody, but there's neighbors outside, like obviously people that can see us, witnesses and shit like that. But we weren't paying any attention. And my mom goes around back. I stay in the car. She gets in the fucking house. I don't even know how. I never asked her, and I never figured it out. She gets in the house, and next thing I know, I just see the garage door opening. Just dunk, 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 dunk. And I was like, okay, I guess this is it. You know what I mean? And I get out of the car. I walk into the garage. We shut the garage door. And then I'm in this dude's house, and it was a strange time for me to be in this house, because at this time in my life, me and my mom were very much broke. Didn't have shit, didn't have money, and I literally basically wore the same clothes every day. Like, it was rough, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm in this dude's house, and I'm looking around at all the nice things he has. I was like staring up at the ceiling, because you can look from the first floor straight to the second floor. I was in awe, because I'd never really been in a house this nice. There was like a big black piano in the corner that was all shiny, and there was like, big statues and shit. It wasn't a mansion, but it was like, it was like a miniature mansion of, those little mini mansions you see in all the subdivisions and shit. And we're going through his house, and we're going through a lot of his stuff. And this, I know it's fucked up. But we were, obviously on drugs and really fucked up. So we didn't care. Had no morals, had no standards. And I'm in the kitchen, and I was going through his food, which is embarrassing, because I was like, man, maybe there's some good shit I could take. And I end up finding this little basket that was sitting on top of his fucking microwave. And it was filled with these little chocolates that looked like little alcohol bottles. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'd never seen them before. I was like, that's neat. So I pocketed a bunch, and then I opened one, a Crown Royal one, and I pop it in my mouth. And it was literally a shot of Crown Royal inside the chocolate. And I was like, what the fuck? So I'm downstairs in the kitchen getting crunk on fucking chocolate liquor. And my mom's upstairs looking through shit. And then I hear her say, come here, buddy. Help me out, buddy. So I go up the stairs, and my mom's in this, what I'm assuming is his bedroom. And she's got one of those giant water jugs that, you buy from the store or refill. One of those giant fucking water jugs filled with quarters. Just solidly packed with quarters. And I tried to pick it up by like the neck, and I grabbed it, and I could not fucking pick it up. I mean, that thing probably had to weigh at least a couple 100 pounds. And me and my mom like roll it over on its side and start, rolling it out of the bedroom. And we get to the stairs, and we're like, fuck, this is going to be a little bit of a hassle to get this thing down the stairs. And at first we were thinking like, well, maybe we can like toss it out the window and, go out there and, maybe some will fall out, but not very many. And so we didn't do that. We ended up, I like stood like halfway down the first set of stairs, and like we were like going one stair at a time, rolling it left and right. And then we get to the little corner where you go down the next set of stairs, and it was only like, there's only like 8 steps, so it wasn't very far. But it's when we went to go left, right, that fucking thing slipped, and it just boom, 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 barreled down the stairs, and the little plug or the cap that was on top just popped out, and quarters fucking went everywhere, all over his hardwood fucking floors and laminate floors. And it was such a fucking mess. And anyway, we rushed, and we picked up all the quarters, got them back in the fucking jug, and we get to the garage, and I'm like, I poke my head around the corner. I'm looking to see if there's any neighbors walking around, or if there's any neighbors in their yards, and I couldn't see any. So I was like, we're clear. My mom starts rolling it, like fucking Donkey Kong, rolling it to the car. And his driveway is a little bit of an inclined driveway, so it's a little bit of a hill. So my mom starts pushing it, and this thing starts picking up momentum, and it starts going. And luckily, I was already walking to the car, and I was standing by like the back side of the car by the trunk, and my mom starts losing control of the quarters, and they start barreling down the driveway, and I fucking stuck my foot out there, and it ran over, but it stopped, it skirted, and went off into the grass a little bit. But I'm just trying to think of the neighbor's perspective if they were watching. Like, you live in this nice neighborhood, you don't really have to worry about robberies and theft and shit like that. And then you're like looking outside one day at your preacher neighbor's house, like, oh, the God-loving, God-fearing man, and he's on vacation, and you see this like American muscle car parked in the driveway, like not like a super fancy muscle car, but what it was, and you see two white people, a female and a teenage boy, like a young teenage boy, rolling a giant water jug full of something out of the garage, in which they have no reason to be inside of in the first place. It's just really funny, and I think about the situations that drugs put me in, man, and it's really fucking weird. But anyway, we get it into the car eventually. It took us a few minutes of like arguing on how to get it into the trunk, but eventually we got it in. And it was going through my head at the time. I was like, man, it's a good thing me and my mom haven't had to kill anybody yet, because we would sure struggle with disposing of the body, because this jug weighed about as much as a grown man in his 30s or 40s. So we get it in the trunk. The car's like sitting at it's like sitting tilted a little bit now. And we get out of there, and we get like a mile down the road, or 2 miles down the road, and my mom realized that we left the garage open, and we're like, fuck, we can't just leave the garage open, you know what I mean? And we turned around, went back, but this time we parked in front of a different house, which was pointless, I think. And my mom went back and closed the garage, and then we left. But trying to cash in the quarters was crazy, because we had to take it to a bank, and we went in the bank, and my mom got one of the tellers, and they brought out a little dolly cart, you know what I mean? Because apparently it's a pretty normal thing for people to bring in immense amounts of change, and they brought out a little dolly. But what we forgot to realize is that on the side of the jug, literally in bold, I mean, it was a little faded, but literally it said property of the fucking dude's name, whatever his name was. It was like Calvin something or some shit like that. But it literally just like wrote on there in Sharpie, property of blah, blah, blah. And we didn't even notice the entire fucking time. And obviously neither one of us are that dude or have that same last name. So luckily nobody asked any questions. We dollied the quarters inside and eventually got them counted up, and it was like $2,500 something, or maybe a little less. But it was a little over $2,000 in that water jug. So it was a good payday for us. But the ridiculous amount of work and stress that we had to go through to get that was absolutely not worth it, because my anxiety was through the fucking roof. I did not want to go to jail for robbing a pasture of quarters. That would have been a pretty lame reason to go to jail. Like, hey, what you doing, bro? What you doing in here, man? Dude, I fucked up, bro, and I stole quarters. I stole quarters from the pasture, man. But he was African American, so it probably would have been considered a hate crime. So it's a good thing we didn't get busted. Anyway, that's it. Think that was quick enough? That was only 10 minutes fucking shorter than normal, so whatever. But anyway, here's this. My new podcast schedule. I want to record twice a week and then upload every Sunday. I hope that works. The goal or the idea is to upload or to record during the week on my days off normally from work, and then upload every Sunday. So on Monday, people that, you know, are traveling to work or commuting wherever, you know what I mean? Monday morning podcast listening is a really popular thing. So, you know, first thing Monday morning, my podcast will be available on, you know, all the directories and everything like that. That's the idea behind it. I hope it works out and it allows me to maybe get a few more downloads per episode on Apple Podcasts and stuff like that. But if you're not already subscribed, go subscribe to my Apple Podcast. It really fucking helps more than you can know. And if you got anybody with a business, or you know anybody with a business that would like to sponsor a podcast, because I'm pretty good at promoting, so their business would definitely get some ears behind it, right? I'm just trying to find a couple companies that maybe want to sponsor the podcast for free. We just benefit each other, in a business type manner, I guess, and just promote each other pretty much. So, but anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's the time. Me and my mom stole $2,000 worth of quarters from a pastor when he was on vacation with his family. We were pieces of shit, and if there is a hell, I'm definitely fucking going. So anyway, I love you guys. Go tell your families that you love them. Before you die, go tell people that you love them, okay? And if you want to give me flowers, send me flowers now. I don't want to get flowers when I'm dead, you know what I mean? How am I supposed to know? How am I fucking supposed to know? Anyway, guys, I hope you have an amazing day. Anybody that listened to this thing all the way through, you're a fucking champ. You're a trooper. And I'll pay you $5. Just walk up to me and say, give me my $5. And I will know what you mean. But most people probably won't. Anyway, have a good day, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace the fuck out.